What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a movie that just came out on Shudder called Martyrs Lane. Let's get into it. So Martyrs Lane was a movie that I was kind of tepidly interested in. I watched the trailer. It is a supernatural film that I was kind of on the fence about watching, but I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. This is a movie that is definitely not within the realm of my particular interests, but is still a good film nonetheless. So what I mean by that is when I grade a film and I actually give a score to a film, I don't just base it off of my own personal interests, because you guys who are watching have different interests than me. So who the fuck cares about my interests if you have interests that are different than mine? So I try to do my best to kind of give you an idea of what the movie's about, what's in it enough for you to kind of feel like, is this a movie that might be worth your while? And then give my opinion on what I thought of the movie at the end, just going forward. This movie was written and directed by Ruth Platt, who has actually done a lot of work in writing and directing as well as acting. She was in the movie The Pianist as an actress, and she also directed another British film, which this is a British film, called The Lesson, that if you like this film, you might want to check out that. I've not seen that, so I don't know. So this is a movie about a family, a father who is a pastor, I believe, the mother who is, has two children. She's got an older daughter and a younger daughter, and the younger daughter doesn't really seem to get along with just about anybody. She's kind of overlooked by a lot of different people for many different reasons. She's very shy, sweet, and innocent. But things start to happen for the mother that the daughter starts to recognize that she's very depressed and that she is oftentimes very lonely, and she doesn't really understand, being a young child, what is going on, until one night she starts to meet a friend who comes to her window supernaturally. Get it? Seems that when Leah was younger, she had a occurrence happen to her that makes her see things that other people cannot. And she becomes friends with this other girl who gives her clues to find certain things to piece the movie's mystery together. And that is essentially it. This is a drama, mystery, slightly horror movie. It is definitely not made for kids, although I would say younger teens maybe would be able to watch this. There is some themes of death and things like that, but this is definitely a very classic sort of English tale about the mother and the daughter and their bond and sacrifices that mothers make in order to love their children. And that is not a story that I'm really quite interested in. It's not that it isn't acted well. It is. It's not that it isn't shot well. It is. It's just not my particular taste in a movie that I get into. This feels kind of like a classic drama film that deals with a light helping of horror in the case that there is ghosts and supernatural events that occur. This is not going to be for people who are looking for some sort of like aggressive movie. This is very much firmly planted in a sad sort of family drama setting that is perceived through the eyes of a young girl and her happenings with other supernatural things that happen. I thought it was actually a pretty decent film as far as that goes, even if it isn't something that piques my interest. I would presume that many of you who are not into dramas are going to find this boring, slow, and get to the point already. It's definitely not a scary film or a jump scare film or anything like that. It is very much about this drama. But for those that are into emotion and kind of enjoy those things too, this may be just right for you. I want to at least give some of the positives about this movie because it is competently shot, directed, lit. There are some sort of darker themes that happen in the movie that is kind of suspenseful, I guess you could say. But all in all, this is definitely a movie that is for a particular type of person. I would see this kind of being for people who like to watch dramas a lot, but also like to peer into horror, but not the like insanely graphic, in your face kind of horror. They just kind of like a little sprinkling of it, just a nice little story that they could tell. I could probably compare this on a lighter end to some of the earlier Guillermo del Toro stuff, where he sort of has that fable-esque sort of way about him. Not nearly as aesthetic as some of the stuff that he's done. If you go back to something that he did like The Devil's Backbone, this kind of has that sort of familiarity about it, although that movie is pretty graphic at times. So if you like that movie, you might like this movie a little bit. It is definitely motherly centric, so if you are a mother and you kind of like to peer into horror, this might be something for you. So if you know somebody, maybe you could suggest it to them if they're not really into horror, but you want to watch something with them. It definitely has great acting for this movie. The children in particular that are in this movie, Keira Thompson, who plays Leah, she is just absolutely fantastic. And also Sienna Sayre, who is one of the other children in the movie, plays Rachel, and she is fantastic as well. These kids are really going to be somebody someday. They have a lot of talent, and everybody in the film is actually pretty decent there. But again, you know, this is just not a movie for me. It probably could be higher for a lot of other people. I'm probably going to be more fair to this movie than most people who watch this channel. So like I said, if you love dramas with a light heaping of ghost story in there and maybe a little liking for The Devil's Backbone, you'll probably get something close to it. Not exactly, but similar that you might like. But other than that, I would probably give this movie a 6 out of 10. I just can't score it lower than that based on my own personal interests. I still think it's a competently well-made film, just not for me. It's out on Shudder now. You can watch it immediately as part of your subscription. I'll include a link down below for you to click on it if you want to check it out, and also the trailer if you want to check it out. Maybe you'll catch my drift by seeing the trailer alone, and maybe you'll understand if it's for you or not. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming by each week. I got an older review I'm going to be doing because Don't Breathe 2 just came out and on VOD because I couldn't go see it in the theater. So I will be watching that and reviewing that. Plus we got another movie called Malignant tomorrow. So I'll be checking that out. So definitely stay tuned. I'll probably post the Malignant one first before I do the Don't Breathe 2, but I did want to include it. So we'll get to that at some point. But other than that, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Let me know what you think about this movie in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell thing, because it goes a long way to help grow the channel and reach more people like yourself. So thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.